Ba-ba-ba-ba! It's your boy, DJ Z. And I want you to check out my man Cody over on YouTube at Rasslin Rage. Check his website out, r2youtube.com, and give them a follow, give them a subscribe, give them a like. Ba-ba-ba-ba!
Oh!
This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. It's going down. This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade.
And now it's time for Rassliin Rage with your host, Cody Fleming.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Cody here from Rassliin Rage and MIW. Hopefully I'm not echoing. Doesn't look like I am. But anyways, thank you for joining us tonight. I am joined by one TJ Meyer, the lost soul. We are going to have a great discussion tonight. We got many things to talk about, including some of those straps that he's got, as well as the return, finally, the return of Proving Ground, and maybe we can finally get an end to Season 7. And we're also going to talk about some other things here and there, like the future of TJ Meyer, and what it's actually like to team with one Dre Jacobs. But before we do all that, please scroll down into the description and, join our group for Michigan Independent Weekly, like Rasslin Rage on Facebook, like MIW on Facebook, all that good stuff. I do believe I put TJ Meyer's links down into the description. If I didn't, I will make sure to go back and do that. So go there, follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, because that's the best way to stay up to date on any of the events that he may be at or booked at. You know that he'll be at Metro Pro Wrestling on November 7th. You also know he'll be at XICW Proving Ground, the return to the Hot Rocks for Proving Ground on November 8th. So, my man, brother from another mother, TJ Meyer. Oh, yeah, by the way, you can also get TJ Meyer T-shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com/TJ Meyer. Oh, is that on there too?
Not yet. It'll be up there soon, as well as I'll probably have them at shows soon.
All right. Well, I like it. That's the best way to get them, right? Is when you see them at a show. So, first off, how you doing? What's crack-a-lackin', my man?
Not much, Cody. Not much. How are you doing?
I feel a lot better. I'm getting back to the grind. Feels good to be doing Rasslin Rage and MIW again, man. I was chomping at the bit in the hospital. If I would have been able to find a way to do it from the hospital, I probably would have did it there, but it just wasn't happening.
I mean, we can tell this week alone you've done Rasslin Rage, MIW, my interview. You got Joseph Schwartz tomorrow, and then you got DBA the next day.
Yep.
So we can tell you're trying to catch up.
Oh yeah, definitely trying to catch up. So first off, let's talk a little bit about the return of Proving Ground, huh? Because it's been it's been a while. We're supposed to be on like episode 7 of episode 8 already.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, everything's shut down. Technically, the Wastelands were the only 2 people at the last Proving Ground, so technically we should say they're the winners. However,
me and Dre don't want to win that way,
right?
Though.
I know.
We want to earn the victory. We don't want to just have it handed to us.
All right, I understand that, and I'd be in the same boat. I would definitely want to earn that. Now, real quick, let's talk. What is it like for you? Because we've talked about this a little bit in the beginning when you first started in Proving Ground, but now that you've been partners with Dre for I mean, it's been a year at least now, hasn't it? I think
it's I think last month was a year
okay.
we've been teaming together.
So for a year now, you've been teaming with Dre Jacobs on and off, and you're also part of War Inc. What is that meant to you and to your career?
It's meant everything to me, man. You know, we kind of touched on it in the last when the War Inc. interview when we were all here that like me and Dre we were, if you really looked at like where the lineup of all the rookies and all the vets from this season would like
Right.
we were the two that you could tell just by looking at us we'd probably make a decent tag team, let alone what we are now. You know, we so like going back to that moment, it was a very obvious choice for me because I knew I wanted to team with, to pick a vet that had experience both in the ring and in the tournament itself. And I wanted to pick somebody that I knew I would mesh well with.
Right.
And I hadn't had that much interaction with Dre, both in the ring and outside of it beforehand. You know, I had seen him at shows, I'd met him, I had like short conversations with him, but I'd never like sat down with him and had a long, deep conversation.
Right.
So, you know, we start teaming and we realize we have some pretty good chemistry. Like our styles mesh really well. We both have similar minds to the business and like what we think works, and we just we meshed so well, and it was so refreshing because I had been part of tag teams already, and this is no disrespect to any of the tag teams I've been a part of, like Purge, Dead Seven, and H3RD, but I had never felt like the connection that I have with Dre.
Right.
And trust me, it took a while to like kind of.
Oh, there goes his internet again. Damn it. I hate when that happens. But while we're waiting, you know, again, don't forget to go down in the description and make sure to, you know, subscribe and all that good stuff. And you can find our Podbean on there where you'll be able to catch the audio of this interview or any other thing that we've done for Rasslin Rage or MIDub on Podbean. And you know what? If you want to have your own podcast, or maybe you already have one, let me tell you all about Podbean because it is unlimited hosting. For a low price, you can get unlimited hosting. I was paying for another one, and it cost way too much.
And my internet cut out again.
Right, I know. You know, see, good thing I'm a seasoned veteran when it comes to doing this because I know how to fill the time, brother.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all good. I was just telling them about Podbean and how they're able to get a free month for free if they click the link down there. So you were saying...
Sorry.
It's all right.
I switched my internet, so it shouldn't have problems.
Right.
But you know, me and Dre became closer and closer, and now it's the point where we can just call each other and like have just normal conversation. You know, we were such a good tag team that like other promotions started noticing outside of XI.
Yeah.
So like now I'm teaming with him at Mr. Chainsaw, and me and Dre hold tag titles in Indiana now.
Oh, now that's nice.
Yeah. So we really like came together as a tag team, and not as just like rookie and vet tag team. We came together as a tag team, two partners. And Dre has easily by far changed my life more than I can even really describe. You know, he took a chance on me when I didn't know who I was. You know, I wasn't known around the Michigan Indies. I was easily probably the least recognizable person in Proving Ground at the time when I made the choice for Dre. Like there was the few TJ chants here and there from like the couple people who see me around, but like I didn't know who I was. You guys barely knew who I was. And that's no knock at you guys, it's just facts. And he took a chance on me, and I can't thank him enough. And he really molded me to help me find out like who I am and really what works for me, and like really steered me in the right path.
Absolutely.
And Dre now is at the point where like he can tell when something's bothering me just by looking at me.
Right.
I'll give an example, and this is kind of a behind the curtain story, if you will. So I know you weren't there at the anniversary show.
Right.
So I'll kind of just replay what happened. So the gauntlet match, Jamal King shows up and is just inserted in the gauntlet match, which is whatever. I have no if he deserves it. He's been around. He is XI history. And he goes through Billy Ray, he beats Mongo, and then it comes out for me. I beat Jamal clean as a whistle, 1, 2, 3, or whatever the cliche goes in the middle of the ring. And then I'm waiting because I know it's either Madman Fulton or Justin Dream. And I hear Sheepy's music, so I'm ready. I'm still somewhat fresh. I'm not 100% because I obviously had to Jamal put up a fight on his way out, but I'm ready. All of a sudden I turn around, Jamal's there, hits me with 2 power bombs, and leaves me laying in the ring. JD, and I won't fault him for this. As much as it pissed me off a lot, the day of, I can't, looking back, I can't fault him for it because I would do the same thing. He took advantage of the situation. You know, I crawled to the corner to get my wits about me and look up, and there's JD with the coast to coast. He pins me in the ring. My moment. That was my moment. And it's not it was my moment to finally show XI that I'm not just Dre's rookie. I'm not just some kid that Dre took pity on and took into the War Inc. and took into Kira Clan. I'm not just like oh hey guys, here I am, part of the Kira Clan now. I'm not. They picked me for a reason, Deadly. They picked me for the heart I have, for my passion, for my I don't like. They pick me for my will to fight no matter what happens to me, no matter how much damage I take. And that one moment, the one moment when I look up and see JD, Justin Dream, Sheepy flying through the air, drop kicking me. Just like that. My moment's taken from me. I don't know if you know what it feels like to feel like everything you've worked for, everything the blood, the sweat, the tears, the miles put on the road, the amount of times you go to the show beforehand and after to set up and tear down, you're busting your ass, and you think finally someone's going to notice, and it's just ripped away from you. It's crushing.
Right.
It's heartbreaking.
Definitely sounds like it.
It makes you feel like makes you feel like a failure. And I didn't know how to handle it. So, I carry myself to the back, defeated, broken. My mental state's not at all what I want it to be. And then as I'm getting to the back, I see Madman Fulton walking through the curtain. I had looked forward to it. I had worked for it. I thought, I thought I was preparing myself mentally to go against somebody who's on TV week after week after week, and I couldn't do it. I walked to my stuff and sat there and thought about it for a while. I let it sink in that, besides Proving Ground, what do I have at XI? I debuted in a 6-man tag against the bosses. Apparently impressed them enough to keep me around for a little while. But I never treated it like I had my spot secured. I always treated myself like my job might be on the line with XICW tonight.
Right.
And then, we start wrestling with the vet. We're on a roll. me and Dre are picking up win after win against everybody. And it's, you know, even to the point where, I don't know if you remember the match me and Dre had against Mitch Hewitt and Game Boy.
Yeah.
My grandmother died 5 days before that. Her
Damn.
funeral was the next day.
Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't tell anybody backstage
Right.
because I didn't want people to feel sympathy for me. You know, I didn't want the people to feel bad for me. I just wanted to go in and do my job. Leave my grief at the door, because I knew the moment was more than I knew my moment was more than with Dre was more than important than that right now. You know,
Right.
I had tomorrow to grieve. Today I had to win. That night we won. We were the number 1 tag team of the tournament that day. We were the top scoring team.
That's awesome.
When I got to the back after that, I broke. I finally let my grief settle in. And, you know, Dre walked up to me and he asked what was wrong, and I told him, and he just, you know, he hugged me. Because he knew what I needed at that time. I didn't need the win. I didn't need this top scoring tag team. I needed something that was there for me. And it's the exact same feeling that I was feeling when I walked to the back after Justin Dream took advantage of the situation and pinned me. I felt like I had nothing. I felt like I was at the point where I was like, you know, XI could fire me tomorrow, and I wouldn't, just because I couldn't handle the pressure. And this is why I don't feel mad at Sheepy. I'm happy he got his moment against Madman Fulton. I'm happy he won the match and beat Madman Fulton. But he wasn't concerned about that. He walked up to me and said, "Are you okay?" I told him, "No, I'm not." You know, he walked me across the street and we had a long conversation, and I told him basically what I was getting into on the 5 minutes of fame, is that I feel like I'm an afterthought. And that's one of the worst things for me, is that I feel like I hate the feeling of, I've never been one to sit on the bench and watch people. You know, my baseball coach would always say, you know, whenever he'd have to bench me for just one inning, to like, "You're tired. You've been going hard all game. You don't need to go hard." And I'm like, "No, I do." Because I've always had the mentality of the next one person could take one moment and take my spot. And I told Sheepy that's exactly how I was feeling. I feel like I'm happy for all of you guys for succeeding. Everyone in Kira Clan, you know, Malcolm with his title, Dre with everything and his title and all the success he's had. And Sheepy, you finally got your moment at XI after 3 long fucking years of waiting. But now where am I? I'm nothing. You know, a lot of people will deny it, but the fans definitely don't think of me when they think of the word Kira Clan. They don't. It's just facts. They think of Alex Weir, MM3, and Dre. Even though Alex Weir isn't part of the group anymore, they don't.
Right.
They still. He was with them for so long. They still think of him. So now I'm sitting there with Sheepy. He tells me, he tries his best to cheer me up, but I'm still thinking about that one moment. The one moment that I thought I finally had after fucking 2 years of long, hard work, of putting my body through so much, more than most 2-year wrestlers are afraid to do, but I had to do it. I knew I had to do it because I knew I was trying to prove myself to what I thought was fans, to promoters, to other workers, that I could hang with the best of them. And that night I couldn't. So, and then later that night, the War Games match happens.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this for a second. And I really want to hit upon the fact that I really believe that you were the only one that saw through everything and never really trusted Alex. You never really. I remember specifically through a lot. Anytime that Alex's name would come up, it would be, well, decisions were made. I don't necessarily agree with them, but it's in the name of the group. I remember you saying something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But here you are. You never truly, really trusted Alex. He comes on this show talking about, how he's so effed up about losing the title to Jack, and then is inserted into a match, a War Games match against DTA, and ends up turning his back on the Kira clan, which he originally did to his DTA brethren as well. So why? Let's talk a little bit about why you never trusted him. What led you to that?
Well, there wasn't a specific point where I would say that I definitively said I don't think he's given us the whole story. I think it was an overtime thing. You guys kind of touched on I don't know if it was last night or the night before. It might have been Rasslin Rage when you said TJ's problems with Alex started. What was it? Was it after we let him into? I think you guys said after we let him into the group, and that's not true. My problems with Alex started back when I was challenging him right after he decided to unretire. I said I was the first person to share his video when it came up and said, "When are we fighting?" And he said, "Where, never, and wherever." So then I'm thinking, okay, cool. I've pinned him when he had his title. Maybe I'm finally gonna get a moment. Maybe I'm gonna get a shot at a singles title for XI for once. And I'm waiting for the announcement, and then my match with Mongo gets announced, and I'm like, okay, it's not what I was expecting, but I'll fight a monster. I'm down for it. And then Alex, after saying, "I'll fight you whenever and wherever," says, "I'm putting out an open challenge." Instead of just accepting a match with me, he instead says, "I'm putting out an open challenge to everyone at XI." What kind of bitch move is this?
You know what? I have to kind of agree with you on that one. I really do. Especially after saying that anywhere in any place, right?
You have somebody that wants to fight you, and you respond with anywhere, anytime, and he responds, "Well, I'll fight anyone in the locker room," after my match gets announced. So he waited
right
until after I was announced for a match to say, "Oh, I'll fight anyone at XI."
Yeah.
Like, really, Alex? You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'll fight TJ." Sure, give him a shot. I know he's already pinned me once, but I doubt he can do it again. Spoiler alert, I did it last weekend. So after that, I was very iffy about Alex. And then he went on your show after losing his title, and he said some things about me that didn't really sit well with me.
I'm sure they didn't.
No, he goes on your show and he says, "Oh, I was expecting TJ, but I guess he didn't want to step up to the plate. Like, I was announced for a match there, bud. You instead of just saying, 'Yeah, I'll fight you,' I'm gonna put out an open challenge instead to anyone and anywhere." Like, so I don't know what you wanted me to step up to, but I had a monster to deal with. And then he says I would have been an easy night for him. An easy night, me.
He did say that, in fact.
He said I would be an easy night, that I didn't know what was going on, and that, he wanted me because he wanted, basically what he wanted was a warm-up. But instead he got Jack. And because he was expecting an easy night instead of, preparing to fight anyone like he put out for, he instead was hoping that it'd be some like random person, maybe a student having their first match. Instead of preparing for everyone and anyone, he decides to be complacent and cocky and prepare for an easy night.
Alleged
Easy night.
Yeah, because
But
I don't really think you would have been an easy night. That's my personal opinion, but
as an example of what happened last week, and I probably would have took the title off of him. But he was, instead of, like, I'm not just referring to me, I'm just referring to the fact that he was just hoping that he'd get a warm-up match, basically.
Right.
So he could just take the night off. But he got cocky and complacent, and it came back to bite him in the ass. And now he's all, oh, I'm sad. I'm going to start drinking again because I couldn't handle the pressure. So then my feelings to him really start to take a downward turn. And after he lost again, I was positive that they were going to, like, that Alex couldn't hang, that he was too busy, caught up in his own hype. I was positive we were going out there to attack him. But then Dre told me to take my shirt off because I was wearing a War Inc. shirt. And he handed it to him. It never sat well with me.
I could tell.
Because I didn't know we were doing this. Obviously, Dre and Malcolm did. And this is no knock at them. I understand. I'm new to the group. I'm probably not the top of the totem pole that gets asked about decisions. So I understood what was happening. I didn't like it, though.
Right.
Never sat well with me. I could tell by the look on his face that he didn't like it either. Didn't like the War Inc. shirt on him. So then we moved to War Games. And it all came full circle.
It sure did.
Once again, I thought I was going to have a moment. Aaron Orion's DTA's music hits, and I come walking out. Because I like to fuck with fans. Get in their heads. And who should show up but Aaron Orion himself? Attacks me outside the cage. Nobody comes to help me. Johnny's standing right there. He didn't even fucking warn me about Aaron coming behind me. And once again, I'm left laying. And Alex turned on DTA. Or on War Inc.
Yeah, that he did.
To kind of go back to what I was saying before the Alex Weir question, because there's more to this story of me having a mental breakdown. So after that, after the War Games match, Dre walks up to me. He was mad about the Alex thing, of course, but he didn't show it. He was more concerned with me. More concerned that, because he knows what I'm going through. He's probably gone through it plenty of times. He looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Nothing. I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it." Pulls me outside and goes, "No, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is bothering you?" And I told him the same thing I'm told Sheepy. But this time was different because this was my brother. This was somebody who was there for me when my grandmother died. He was there for me through everything. I finally broke. I let everything out that I was feeling that day. All the hate, but it wasn't hate toward anyone in particular. It was hate toward myself. It was the feeling of failure that I had let so many people down, that I told, like, I'm finally gonna do it. I'm finally gonna do something of meaning in XI, and hate of me not knowing how to deal with the fact that I had failed. And Dre looked at me and said, "You haven't failed. We have wrestling with a vet." And I looked at him and said, "But what happens after that? Let's say win or lose. What happens to me after that?" Because Dre, you'll have the title. You have something that keeps you here, something that you have the feeling of security. But what happens to me, win or lose? If we lose, I could get fired, and I got to go figure that out. I could get fired from the promotion that I call home, that from the beginning of, before my career even started, I knew I wanted to be there and be a major player for XICW. But what happens after that? What happens if for some weird reason we lose? What happens on November 8th if we fall short of the mark and we're eliminated? What happens then, Dre? And he said, there's no way we're going to be eliminated, first of all. Secondly, you'll find a way. You'll figure something out. You're still young in this business, TJ. You're still new. You're 20 years old and you're only 2 years into wrestling. You'll still have, he tells me, you still have so many years ahead of you. You've got so much potential. You've got everything that you need to succeed. You just have to figure it out. You have to figure out what we do, what you're gonna do from there. I can only take you so Dre told me that me as your mentor, I can only take you so far. You know, the old expression goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep.
Dre can only lead me so far before he finally has to say, all right, kid, you got to do it by yourself. I can't hold your hand. And, you know, it was something that I needed to hear that day. It was that I hadn't failed, that this was only a step back in my wrestling career. This was only an obstacle that I needed to overcome somehow.
Right. Can I say something right here? Now, I know I'm not trained in professional wrestling. I didn't go to the House of Truth or anything like that. So I'm an untrained person. But as somebody that is a mentor to people when it comes to karate and things like that, the one thing that I always like to tell people, and this is something that I had to be told in my life, but every day, every small victory is a victory, and every day that you wake up is a blessing. So, man, I see big things in your future. I really do, because your dedication and your passion says, you know, I don't have to know. You don't have to tell me, because I see it, right? I see it. I know what you're doing. I know you're showing up. I know that you're coming in and doing all the things that you need to do. And Truth Martini himself told me that you have some of the best etiquette when I was there at House of Truth. And that in itself is going to get you further ahead than most people in this business. Trust me on that. Now, we talked about Alex a little bit, and you had this match with him at the Drink Saloon. So funny, kind of full circle, right? Because you wanted his title. He loses his title. So now he's got to come cross promotion over here and face you for your title.
Yeah. You know, he felt like he challenged me, first of all, which was funny. You know, maybe I should have said, oh no, I'm going to do an open challenge instead. No, he challenged me for my title.
Right.
Because, you know, he lost his, so he thinks that he can just walk around demanding title shots whenever he feels like it. But, you know, because I'm the champion that I am, you know, I accepted it. I said, you know, I'll take the challenge. You know, I always wanted to be the champion that would be, you know, I'll fight anyone. You know, I win, lose or draw, I'll fight anyone. I'm gonna take this title and make it something, because it's still a new title, so it needs a long-term champion that's gonna put some prestige on it. So I knew, yeah. So I knew as soon as I won it, I'll fight anyone in any match. Was my goal. I won it in a ladder match against Jay Maynard. I beat Mitch Hewitt in a street fight. And then I beat Alex in a 15-minute match where we just
don't forget that great match you had with Adam Wick defending that title too. Yeah. That was a good match too, man.
I very much am the champion. I'm very much wanted to be the champion that I'll fight the best of the best, and I'll step up right, and whoever's across the ring, I'll step up in your face, tell you how it is, and hit you in the face as hard as I can.
Right. And you're on a pretty good run with that junior heavyweight title, I have to say. I mean, that program that you and Maynard did was pretty good, and then I think it was after the third match you won the title.
Mm.
Now, and then now you're successfully defending said title at pretty much every Pro Wrestling All-Star show that they do almost,
Yep.
They're running consistently almost every week. So, kudos on you. Speaking of another title here in Michigan, you are also the inaugural tag team champions for Metro Pro Wrestling with your partner Tanner Nix, who's also a member of Armageddon, along with you and Jason Page and Gracefully Chosen. And is there anybody else that I'm missing?
No, it's just me, Tanner, Jason Page, and Gracefully Chosen.
All right. So, and you guys pretty much have all the gold over there as well in Armageddon. Yep. I think there's maybe one title that you guys don't hold.
Yeah, it's the Metro Pros Heavyweight Championship.
I don't even know who is the title holder for that.
I want to say it's Nate Matson.
Oh, okay. All right.
But he hasn't been around since
before
I think
COVID.
I think he doesn't want to work during COVID.
Right, I think you're right. So you got those two belts. I looks pretty good, and you successfully defended said belts at the last Metro Pro Wrestling. So that was a good time as well. Now do you guys have a match on the 8th or the 7th?
For Metro Pro?
Metro Pro for you?
Yeah.
Who are you facing?
It's a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. Armageddon versus DTA.
Oh, so man, I tell you what, they sure are taking this faction versus faction shit seriously. I like that.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Like that. I am too, because for so long we had so many factions and it was never like faction versus faction, and now all of a sudden we're getting War Games, we're getting Armageddon versus DTA and a 5 versus 5. I mean, It's pretty good stuff, man. So we're going back home to the Hot Rocks under some stipulations because of the COVID and the laws and all that good stuff. But we're finally getting back to it. And something that I talked about briefly on one of the shows, or I think it was on Rasslin Rage, where we talked about, proving ground, that there's kind of an issue here, right? Because we have Shogun and Sean Tyler, we have Alex Weir and Adam Wick, and then we have TJ Meyer and Dre Jacobs. And really, we don't know what's going to happen between Adam and Alex, because if those of you that weren't there, Alex super kicked Adam in that War Games match at the end when he turned on War Inc.
Yep.
So there's some turmoil there. So it's going to be very interesting to see the outcome. But when we come back on the 8th to go to Hot Rocks, it's a 3-way dance. It's all three teams against each other in one match.
That return to the Hot Rocks might be short-lived, because I feel like that match is going to completely tear the building down.
Well, if the match doesn't, I think you and Dre definitely will.
Oh, we'll do anything to Alex at this point. Like I said in the Rasslin Rage, you guys were talking about, what happens when Adam gets his hand on Alex? I went, no, what happens when me and Dre get our hands on Alex?
Yeah, and that's another thing that, we talk about. I don't think I talked about it on the show, but I posted something about it on Facebook about that. I don't think that the War Games was the end of it. I think that was just the beginning. Between War Inc., DTA, Alex, TJ Meyer, Alex, Rage, Alex versus everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, I don't think Alex realized with that one super kick to Malcolm, he pissed a lot of people off.
Right.
And I don't honestly know if DTA is gonna be willing to just fully bring Alex back into the fold. Because sure, he may have came back to them or left Kira Clan. But let's not forget the fact that a year ago he did the same thing to DTA.
Right, exactly. Absolutely.
So what happens then?
Yeah, talk about a shady character, man. Definitely not following the rules. Definitely not following the rules.
As El Ridiculoso would say, you always follow the rules.
That's right.
So in this three-way dance, you've got me and Dre, who are just staring Alex down with bloodlust in our eyes. Adam over here is going to have to pick sides. And, hopefully he makes the right choice. But I'll understand if he wants to, kind of play both sides. Because I understand wanting to win the tournament. But you also have to understand that the man you're teaming with kind of turned his back on you, me, Dre, and everyone that you kind of hang with.
Right.
And then Shogun and
shady character. Kind of a shady
Shogun
character.
and Sean are just the outsiders looking in.
Right.
Who are going to get caught in the crossfire. So it's going to be an interesting night, to say the least.
Oh, I can only imagine, man. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm looking forward. Those of you that don't know, because of my hospital stay, I'm still not at full 100% for my lungs, so I'm not able to go to any more outdoor shows this year. And next weekend or this weekend, and according to Peter B in the chat here, you're making your TKW debut this weekend, huh?
Indeed, it's me and Asmodeus.
Oh my lord! So you and Asmodeus are gonna get it on.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a fun one, huh? I can only imagine. Now, this is an outdoor show. This is going down on the 24th, I think the date is. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday, and I don't remember what city it's in now. It's changed.
Think Garden City.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
If I remember correctly.
The location's changed a couple times, but... So, what's it like for you going into a new promotion? Like, when you go, because Anna not too long ago, when you go into a new promotion, not in just Michigan, but anywhere for that matter, what's going through your head? Are you nervous, or are you trying to feel it out? How's that go?
So, the way I see it is that, the nerves are there, but I try not to pay attention to them.
Okay.
I'm more focused on, all right, who's the top guy around here? Who's the guy in charge? Who's the people everyone are scared of? Who's the people that everyone respects? I kind of try to feel it out, basically, like see who's who in the promotion. And if I see people I know, then I already know how to feel about them, whether I like them or hate them.
Right.
And then especially if it's a new crowd. Like when I debuted in Indiana, my first goal is definitely, this is who I am. This is all of me.
Right.
You'll get somebody, you'll get me. You'll understand who I am by the time either I put a video out on Facebook or I step between the ropes. You'll know who I am. No, not the guy across the ring from me. Not anyone in the back who also might be debuting that night.
Right.
But me, you'll know who I am.
Gotcha. Now
that's the majority of my mindset going into new promotions.
And I like that. Now, as far as the future goes, right? Now, I know what you were talking about a little bit earlier. You were a little concerned with your status in XICW. With that said, though, we all know, and I know you know this, we got to be better today than we were yesterday. So what are you looking to do in the future to lay your mind at rest when it comes to such situations like that?
Well, I especially after that night, I took a long, hard look in the mirror at who I am, what I've done, things I've wanted to do, and I kind of had to put things in a new perspective. So instead of worrying about, you know, the future of keeping my spot, like what is going to happen tomorrow if I don't do this, I'm more worried about now that I've done that, I've looked in the mirror and I've said, I came to the conclusion I need to worry about what I'm going to do right now. What, what am I going to do to make myself stand out from the guy next to me? What, when you scroll through Facebook, what is going to make you stop and look at my post instead of, just scrolling past? Or if you're looking up my matches, what's gonna pop out to you or make you go, hey, no, actually I want to watch this match, instead of just, oh, it's just another indie match. So, or promos, what am I gonna do that makes you like, because I know a lot of guys kind of sit for about 30 seconds in a promo and then kind of just, it's not for me. What am I gonna do to make you hooked in to everything I'm doing, because I don't talk in promos. It's just who I am as a person. I'd rather use my ability to tell stories without talking than have to be one of those guys that sits there for 2 minutes and rambles on about nothing. What am I going to do to make you go, oh, what is going on in this video? Or what is he trying to tell me? Oh, he's not saying anything. Okay, well, what is he still trying to tell me? So my main goal now is just, how am I going to stand out? What am I going to do to have everyone, start paying attention to the work I'm doing? And, work on, I want to be the match everyone remembers that when they leave the building that day. Whether I'm first, last, before intermission, right after it, wherever I am on the card, I want my match to be the one that you're talking about, damn, that was the best match of the night, every time you leave the building.
That is not a bad goal to have, for sure. Now, I just want to point out here, Black Sheep is in the good old Sheepies here in the chat, and he says, "I'd love a piece of TJ one-on-one after Proving Ground." He says,
"I'll take that challenge."
I like it. And then Bunk Pitch says it's in Taylor. TKW is in Taylor at Road Rangers.
Okay.
Definitely want to get that out there. But good stuff. Now, those of you that are in the chat, I'm going to open up questions to you if you'd like to ask him a question. But I do want to say something real quick, though. I think this is about the third or fourth time that you've been on, including the 5 Minutes of Fame episodes. I think we've done 2 interviews ourselves with me and you.
I think this is the second just me and you interview.
Okay, maybe. All right, so I lose track of shit, right?
Yes.
Right.
I know we did my interview right when Proving Ground started. Me and Dre have done a tag interview, and I think the War Inc. interview.
Yep. Yeah. So you've been on quite a few times.
Yeah.
You've been on. You're quite the regular. You're also in the chat quite often. So I do want to take this time to tell you that I appreciate you, and I appreciate your support of Rasslin Rage and MIDub and all the things that you do for us, even just sharing. Thank you. I appreciate that, because just sharing means a lot, right? It does a lot for us, and I definitely thank you for that. And I also want to say that I think that the way that you think and the way that you're hard on yourself makes you better. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think that's what's going to drive you to be successful. And I think that's what's also going to drive you to be better. And talking here now and listening to what you're saying about how now you're more worried about how am I going to stand out. That in itself right there tells me how much you've grown in since the last time that we've talked. And Danny and I and Josh, we've all talked about this on an occasion. The pre-COVID TJ Meyer and the after-COVID TJ Meyer, it's like 2 different worlds, man. It's 2 different guys. It really is. I mean, you're still the same person, but I see the drive and I see the hunger more so now than I did then.
Because so COVID happened, and I knew right off the bat, I was like, all right, I want to change a lot about me. I want to change the way I move in the ring. I want to change the way I cut promos. I want to change, the way I present myself, the way I promote myself. I wanted to change almost everything because I knew when fans came back to shows, they were really going to look for, all right, who spent the past 3, 4, 5, 6 months working on their craft, and who just kind of went, oh, well, I'll just do the same thing and it'll continue to work, right?
And we do notice.
So, like, I really spent time. I watched film. I really like watched film. I like worked on like my promo style. I tested things out, saw what worked, what didn't work, and I basically just all I thought about for 3, 4 months was wrestling. And I wanted to. I worked on my body. I started getting a little bigger. Started cutting little weight. Once House Truth opened back up, I was in there as soon as I could get in there to start like getting back into ring shape. And I hit bumps in the road. My first match back was me against Jack Price at Mr. Chainsaw. And I know you guys said you watched it a while when that happened. You thought it was a great match. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way I looked in the ring. I know I looked out of shape. I didn't like how it looked. So then I went back to House Truth and worked on myself again and again and again, over and over, until I finally started feeling like something was working. I started to watch my matches and go, oh, that works actually. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I've wanted the whole time. And I just didn't know what it looked like until I started watching. The first time I saw it was the match, my second match against Jay Maynard, where Joseph Schwartz came out and Maynard hit me with the belt.
Right, yep, I remember that.
I watched that match back and I was like, oh, well, the outcome sucked, but the way I looked and the way I was carrying myself, that was what I was looking for. That's what I really wanted to be. And of course, I'm sure my opinion will change in about 6 months. That's just the nature of the business.
Right.
So, I started to really like look at my matches, study them, and see what works and what doesn't. And if something didn't, like, kind of was in the middle, I decided I was like, I want to work on it. I want to see if, like, maybe if I changed it up a little bit, it might work. And now we're at the point where I'm like, all right, I'm feeling real comfortable with what I'm doing. Not too comfortable because I don't want to risk complacency, but I'm feeling real comfortable. Me and Dre, once we started teaming again, it didn't take long for us to get back in the groove of, we need to be here. We're back on the groove of being in that mindset of a tag team. We to the point where, like I said earlier, we won tag belts in Indiana. And the day after the show, after we won them, we were defending them against Hernandez.
Nice.
So, it was really my goal to come out of COVID, to have people look at me and go, he busted his ass in COVID to make sure that he was different and that he had worked real hard to make sure that he was in the best he could possibly be coming out of COVID.
Right. Well, we definitely noticed. I can tell you that for sure. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that shit. I definitely noticed. But we got a question here. What do you plan on bringing to TKW to sway the audience to or from you? Gear, tone, moves?
Well, I won't give you the moves because then
then you'll know.
Then everyone will know.
Right.
But you're definitely gonna get somebody who is not afraid to put their body on the line to win or send a message, but and also somebody who's not really afraid of anybody or anything. Asmodeus might be a demon, he might be the king of hell or whatever he wants to call himself, but I've stared my own demons in the face.
Right.
And that scares the shit out of me. That's the only thing that I let scare the shit out of me.
Right. Now, Billy Ray Daniels says he's got no question. TJ, you always have me in your corner. Love you, bro.
Love you, redneck.
And then Danny Beals says, post-COVID is a very, very dangerous individual, no doubt about it. If you sleep on TJ and you're going to look at the lights for 3.
Man, he said that quickly last time. It took him a minute and a half to say that.
That's what you get for taking his time and then trying to blame it on the fucking boss. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck kind of shit's that? That's some bullshit, I got to tell you. But, you know, I want to say thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you, man. I really like rapping with you because, you know, even though you're still new to the business technically, you know, you're only 2 years in there or what have you, I still feel like you have a great mind for it. So, you know, great talking with you. Guys, don't forget, down in the description, if you scroll down there, his social media links are down there, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm not sure if the link to Pro Wrestling Tees is down there, but what's really cool about it, you can go to ProWrestlingTees.com and then search TJ Meyer, or you can just type in ProWrestlingTees.com/TJ Meyer. That's Meyer, okay? And it'll take you right to his page. He's got 2 t-shirts up there currently, and he says he's going to have another one very, very soon that you can get. This is probably my favorite right here. I got that one. I love this one, man. It looks cool. Everybody sees it, and they're like, man, what is that? And I'm like, it's a wrestler, this guy I know. His name's TJ Meyer.
Wasteland
Yeah.
boss style.
Right. Yeah, I like that one, too. It's a great one. So definitely, we know that he will be at TKW this weekend on Saturday. He will also... No, wait. What else is going on? Is there a show on Sunday? Yeah. Are you going to be at...
Pro Wrestling All-Stars.
Are you going to be there?
Yep. I'll
right.
be defending my title.
All right.
Don't
So
know against 2 yet, but...
Okay. So this weekend you have 2 opportunities to see TJ Meyer. One at TKW as well as at Pro Wrestling All-Stars, where he'll be defending his title once again. And then coming up in November, we're going to see him at Metro Pro on the 7th. And we're going to see him at XI for the return of Proving Ground. I can't wait. The return November 8th at the Hot Rocks in Warren, Michigan. So thank you so much again for joining me. And everybody...
Thank you for having me, Cody.
Yeah. Everybody, please smash that thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And click that bell over there as well, because that'll notify you a half hour prior to when I go live, or when Rasslin Rage goes live, or when MIW goes live, or when any new matches come to the channel. Because tomorrow, I am going... Rasslin Rage will be officially Flophouse as fuck, because one Joseph Schwartz, it will be on the show tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then on Friday, it's Shooting the Shit with DBA, because somebody pissed him off, and I'm just glad it wasn't me. That's all I know. So I won't be getting stabbed, but some other motherfucker might.
As someone who's been threatened to get stabbed by DBA, he follows through with his threats. He almost stabbed me in a match.
Oh, damn.
During a match.
Damn. I don't want to be on that dude's bad side, man, for real.
I've been on that dude's bad side for a little bit, so.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow at 7 for Mr. Joseph Schwartz. It's going to be Flophouse up in this bitch. Later!
Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade.